Happy Friday. We got 11 game slate to talk about here. Before we do, though, if this is your first time watching, my name is DK. Cover content for NBA and NFL DFS. If you guys are playing Super Bowl, the Showdown slate, you can check out my video breaking that one down. Also have a couple prize picks plays for the Super Bowl. Just uploaded that video as well. And then prize picks, we mentioned them. They are the sponsor. You can use the code DKDFS for 100% match up to $100. So that's a free $100 to play with on the site. If you're not familiar, it's basically you're building out lineup cards with player props. So you build 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 player props and up to 25 extra money. So give it a try. I'll also have it linked down below. But let's recap tonight. So tonight, we'll see. I might have a chance to min cash. No, I did not click max price Aaron Gordon, sadly. But I did have CP3, who for some reason, 15 first half minutes. Luckily, he's still smashed. How did the faders know? Teamed himself? 15 first half minutes. I played a Koji. Him and Damian Lee are both good values, but I actually couldn't afford Damian Lee in this lineup. I needed to go to a Koji there. I was debating Rui versus Bruce Brown. I decided to go Bruce Brown for less ownership and was punished for it. Rui most likely going to outscore him. So if I went Rui in this lineup instead of Bruce Brown, I probably would be looking really, really good. But, we'll see. I might build a min cash. I mean, Aaron Gordon was low owned as he should have been. Like, didn't really stand out, but had a massive ceiling game. And then Jokic, that first quarter, man, like 4 fantasy points in the first quarter. How is that possible? And then rounded it out with Day'Ron Sharpe. So in the late game, I got Giannis, I got Schroeder, I got Lonnie Walker. We'll see. And might be able to get a min cash in there. But that is the recap of my lineup. Hope you guys had a good night. And let's just get right into this video. So we'll start off with Phoenix and the Pacers for the Suns. I believe Booker will be available. He sat out this game due to just injury management. I don't think I can play him yet, though. He only played 26 minutes in his first game back. And I'm not sure if those newly traded guys will be available for the Suns. So, KD obviously won't, but TJ Warren, I'm not sure if he'll be available. If not, then they'll have 10 active guys. No one would really stand out assuming Booker plays. I think Ayton would probably be my favorite play at 8.1K. Craig should play a lot of minutes. He did nothing tonight, though. Could you still get to like Lee or Koji? Sure. But yeah, nothing really standing out for the Suns. On the Pacers side, tougher matchup here. If you want to go to like Halliburton or Miles Turner as a contrarian play, I don't hate it, but neither at their price points would this matchup stand out to me. Buddy Hield feels priced right. McConnell had a big game off the bench, but I don't think I can pay 5.5K for him. Of course, when no one plays Naismith, he goes right back to what he usually does. But when he's way over-owned, he just sets career high and just NBA DFS, man. Daniel Tice has him playing the backup 5. He's 3.1K. Will probably have better value, but I wanted to mention that if you needed a close to min price guy, I think he's okay. New York and Philadelphia, pretty simple to talk about for the Knicks. Tough matchup. Randall, Brunson, Barrett should play a ton. None of these guys are priorities. If you want to land those guys for contrarian plays, sure. Quickly should play mid-20s minutes off the bench. Okay, Grimes will play a lot, but don't love the price point on him. Sims, Hartenstein will split the center minutes. Hartenstein has the higher ceiling. He dealt with massive foul trouble last game, so Sims played extended minutes. But yeah, if you want to go to one of those guys, you can. But the price point has come up a little bit there and on Hartenstein. On the Philly side, Embiid questionable for the 27th straight game. He's going to play. So him, Harden, both fine spend-ups, but I don't love the price point on Embiid. Don't love the price point on Harden. If you want to click 5.5K Harris, it's okay. He'll play low to mid-30s minutes. Maxey has really struggled off the bench. Melton will start and probably play low 30s minutes. I think he's a reasonable value. Does have the shooting guard, small forward eligibility too. So Melton might be my favorite play, I guess, at 4-4. San Antonio and Detroit. So this one, the Spurs could be really shorthanded. So they traded Jakob Poeltl, and then Josh Richardson got traded. Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, and Sohan are all questionable. If they're all out, Dedmon got released. I think they might only have 8 guys. Like Wesley 1, Barlow 2, Roby 3, Johnson 4, McDermott 5, Collins 6, Bates Diop 7, Branham 8. So I believe they only have 8 active players if all these guys sit. Now, if Keldon, Trey Jones, and Sohan all play, then I like the main guys for the Spurs if there's no limitations. This is just two bad teams going up against each other. So this is a game where I'd be fine buying into some of these Spurs. A 6.8K Keldon, a 5.7 Trey Jones, a 5.2 Sohan, as long as there's no limitations. And I think the best play on the Spurs is going to be Zach Collins. He should start now with Jakob Poeltl traded. He's over a fantasy point per minute guy. I expect, close to 30 minutes for Collins. So he stands out as a phenomenal play. And then is he still on this roster? He is. Okay, yeah. Birch, I don't think he'll play for this team. They have Roby too. So if Bassey plays, he'll play the backup 5. If not, I guess probably Isaiah Roby would get backup 5 run. So keep an eye on that. And then, if all these guys are out, then we can start looking to Branham and Blake Wesley and some of these wings alongside Zach Collins, obviously. So there'll be a ton to like from the Spurs if all those guys sit. On the Detroit side, so I don't hate some of these guys. I want to keep an eye on if James Wiseman will be available. Usually the guys that just get traded sit the first game. So I don't think Wiseman will be available, but they did say they're going to start James Wiseman. So we'll keep an eye on that. But assuming Wiseman's not available, I think the main guys for the Pistons all make for decent options. Bojan should play low to mid 30s minutes. Is only 6.3K. Ivy, we saw Killian Hayes pick at the start too. He only played 29 minutes, but if he starts again, I like a 4.7K Killian Hayes. Ivy's 5.3, that's reasonable. The front court and Duran and Stewart are both fair prices. Burke still played decent minutes off the bench, I guess. Never mind, he only 16. She got 1 of 10, but still in the rotation. So I think the main guys for the Pistons, I kind of like here. So it's weird. It's not a good feeling, but there is a good amount to like from the Spurs and Pistons game. Charlotte and Boston. So we'll start with Mason Plumlee, who was traded, and probably the guy that's going to be massive chalk on the slate, but I think it's for good reason. Mark Williams. Really good fantasy point per minute guy. I expect him to start now with Mason Plumlee out. I think he looks phenomenal at 3-2. I think Nick Richards will play the backup 5, and he's a fine contrarian pivot. Richards also a good point per minute guy. Not sure how many minutes Mark Williams can play. Can Mark Williams even play 30-plus minutes? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a relatively even split with Williams and Richards. So I like both centers a lot here for Charlotte. I think LaMelo Ball is a fine contrarian option. We'll see who's available for Boston. No Smart, no Jaylen Brown, possibly no Jason Tatum. If Tatum's out too, I feel pretty good about the Hornets being able to keep this game competitive. Rozier just more of a contrarian play. Washington and Hayward are fine. I do want to mention that Gordon Hayward has been playing more 35 minutes last game. I think he'll get a bit more usage for PJ Washington at 5'9". Jalen McDaniels is traded too, so you might get a little bit more run for a guy like Dennis Smith Jr. just because his team is relatively shorthanded. Maybe they give the rookie McGowan some minutes, but I think mainly the centers are the guys that I like the most on Charlotte. On the Boston side, so as I said, it kind of comes down to Tatum here. You got Rob Williams and Al Horford expected to play. If Tatum is out too, along with Brown and Smart, then Brogdon and White really stand out. Those two would run the show offensively. Both look phenomenal. The bigs would be fine. Grant Williams would most likely start. So I think the starting lineup, well, they like bringing Brogdon off the bench. So maybe they would go Derek White, Hauser, Grant Williams, Horford, Rob Williams. That's a pretty big lineup, though. Maybe they throw Peyton Pritchard in the starting lineup. We'll see. But there would be a good amount to like here for Boston if Tatum's out. If Tatum's in, I think Tatum looks pretty good at the top. No Brown, great matchup. No Smart. I think he would look really good. And then Brogdon and White would still be solid options. The front court would still be solid options. And keep an eye on the starting lineup. If Grant Williams starts, I like him. He played 39 minutes last game, so he would stand out. We'll keep an eye on that. Utah and Toronto. Westbrook, I think, will be bought out, so I don't think he'll be playing a game for this team. With Mike Conley out of there, Collins section should continue to start. I think he stands out as one of the better values in the board. Played 31 minutes last game. I really like Collins Sexton. Markkanen, 8'8" in a tough spot. Clarkson at 6'6". Role doesn't necessarily change a ton. I think Walker Kessler is interesting at 5'7". I think they're just going to play this guy a lot down the stretch. Utah's not trying to make the playoffs here, so I think they're going to give Kessler a good amount of minutes. I like his upside there at that price point. Olynyk's fine. You will see THT play some minutes. He played 24 minutes last game. Ochi Obachi will get run now. He played 24 minutes. I think I'd rather go to THT, though, who's the better point per minute guy of the two. For some reason, Rudy Gay is still on this team. I guess we'll see rotation minutes, but I'm probably not going to do that. On the Toronto side, keep an eye on if Jakob Poeltl is available or not. If he's not available, then you're going to get Precious starting. If he is available, I would think they want to start Jakob Poeltl, so we'll see. But the top end guys, Siakam, Van Fleet, Barnes, Trent, they should play a ton of minutes. It's a decent matchup. None of these guys stand out, but the positive is they're going to play a lot of minutes. If Achua starts, he's a reasonable play at 5'8", should play close to 30 minutes. And then I would like my boy Boucher, who absolutely smashed last game in 30 minutes. His minutes have been ticking up. Good point per minute guy. I always like him. 4.6 if there's no Pirtle, still would be in play. If Pirtle's in, makes Achua and Boucher much, much riskier. Houston and Miami. So tough matchup here for Houston. But there's still some guys I think are interesting here. And I don't know who the fifth starter is going to be now with Eric Gordon out. I don't think they're going to start Tari Eason. I guess they could. My guess is it's probably Christopher or Jayshawn Tate that move into the starting lineup. But I played Şengün and Jalen Green at negative ownership last slate. They both absolutely smashed. They were my favorite tournament plays at the slate. However, this is a much, much tougher spot. But if this game stays competitive, you're going to see big minutes for Green and Şengün. So still like their upside in tournaments. Martin and Jabari Smith are more just kind of last guys into me. They should see 30-plus minutes. There are price points where they're fine, but I'm not going to prioritize any of them. And then we'll see who the fifth starter is. Like if it's Christopher at 3-4, I like that. If it's Jayshawn Tate at 3-8, I like that. If it's Tari Eason, I like him. So we'll see. I guess they could try to go to like, I think it's going to be one of those. I guess they could go Deshaun Knicks. I don't know. Whoever starts things would be an interesting value there for Houston. On the Miami side, so same situation here. Miami is really shorthanded. I expect them to run an 8-man rotation again. Gabe Vincent probable. So the starting lineup will be Vincent, Hero, Martin, Butler, Bam. You're going to see Strus play off the bench. You're going to see Highsmith play off the bench. And you're going to see Orlando Robinson play off the bench. Bouye and Kane were available, but I don't think they will play unless this game turns into a massive blowout. So great matchup. Should play a ton. I like Bam. I like Jimmy. And I like Hero once again. You should see big minutes for all three of these guys. Again, it's a really good matchup. Hero playing like 40 minutes a game. Yeah, they all look good. I like Gabe Vincent for value. I think he's very safe. Played 37 minutes last game. If you want to go to 4.8K Martin, that's fine. Back-to-back 30 bombs for him. Strus, minutes weren't great, but I think he could play, mid to high 20s minutes if he plays a bit better. Highsmith will see rotation minutes. He's 3.3. He's fine, but I think there's other value I'd rather get to. And then Orlando Robinson will play the backup 5. All right, Minnesota, Memphis. So Minnesota, we'll see. We got Gobert status up in the air. We don't know if Mike Conley's going to be available, and we don't know the status of Kyle Anderson. If all those guys are out once again, then you should get a starting lineup of Jalen Noel, Anthony Edwards, Taurean Prince, McDaniels, and Naz Reid. If that's the case, I mean, there's just a lot to like here for Minnesota if you think the game can stay competitive. Noel absolutely smashed last game, going for a 50 bomb. We posted about that on Patreon, how I thought that that trade might happen. And if it is, that Noel and Sexton would benefit the most. They smashed both of them. So if all those guys are out, I really like Noel. I think Taurean Prince is a good value. He had a massive game last game. Naz Reid, maybe the faders will finally be punished. I think he would still be a really good play if he starts. McDaniels would be fine, and Ant would run the show offensively. So there'd be a good amount to like here if all those guys are out. If they're all in, then I think Gobert is fine. I think Ant's a fine contrarian play. Conley is playable, Slow-Mo's playable, but there would be like no standouts for me if they're all in. On the Memphis side, pretty easy team to talk about. No Adams. Whoever starts between Clark and Tillman's a fair play. Ja, fine contrarian spend up. Triple J and Bane are fine contrarian plays. I think Brooks is a bit pricey. There's really nothing here on the Memphis side I love. Cleveland, New Orleans. So we got Mitchell back. We got Garland back. I think the main 4 guys are where I look to. With Mitchell, with Garland, with Mobley, Allen. I think Mitchell probably being my favorite, only 8.5K. He's the guy with the highest ceiling, reasonable price point, and does have the shooting guard eligibility. But if you want to get to Garland, if you want to get to Mobley, if you want to get to Allen, that's fine. LeVert feels a little bit pricey. Rubio should see 15 to 20 minutes off the bench. Okoro will start, but probably won't do a ton. So mainly the top 4 guys. On the New Orleans side, tough matchup, but I think the price point on the main guys is a little bit too cheap in CJ and Ingram and JV. Like, this is a big front court for Cleveland, so if you get like close to that 30-minute mark for Jonas Valanciunas, he could have a really good game. 3 straight games, 30-plus fancy points for JV. Ingram only 7.6. Again, it's a tough matchup, but he should play a ton. I think he looks decent, and then CJ is reasonable as well. Don't really know if I'm going to get to the wings. Murphy, Herb Jones, Najee Marshall. I think Nance is a bit pricey, so I would say basically the top guys would look to. Dallas and Sacramento. Depends on Luka. If Luka is in, I have a hard time getting to anyone. I don't think Luka will have the same usage, obviously, playing alongside Kyrie. It's a good matchup, but Wood's not playing a ton of minutes. A lot of these guys priced up from Luka's out, so there would be like nothing to like if Luka is in. If Luka's out, then I'm fine getting to Kyrie at 10.5. Played 37 minutes in his first game. You want to look like Hardaway or Josh Green or Bullock, that's fine. But if Luka's in, there's like nothing I like on the Dallas side. On the Sacramento side, tough matchup. I think Fox and Sabonis are fine contrarian options. I'm not really looking to the wings and Barnes, Hurt or Murray. Monk, if he plays well, they can extend him. Played 29 minutes last game. Fine option in GPPs, but a game that I don't have a ton of interest in. Dallas and Sacramento. OKC and Portland. Not much standing out on the Oklahoma City side. Like, I don't love almost 11K for Shea. Like, the ceiling obviously is still there. Giddey's 8K. That feels priced about right. Jalen Williams had 22 steals and blocks last game, so we can't expect that again. He did play 40 minutes, though. He's a guy that has shown upsides. I don't hate him. Lou Dort also might be back. Whoever starts the 5 is interesting. If they go back to the other Jalen Williams, I don't hate it. They traded away Mike Muscala. I don't think JRE will be available. He's been playing a little bit better of late. Now, I don't think we can expect a triple-double, which is basically what we got from him last game, 14, 7, and 7. But a 3.2K center, if he starts, I think he would be playable for sure. Portland, Nurkic still out. Josh Hart traded. Gary Payton traded. So starting lineup, I think either Shaedon Sharpe or Nasir Little move in the starting lineup alongside Dame, Simons, Grant, and Eubanks. So Dame Lillard, almost 11K. Still like his upside in tournaments. Went for 66 fancy points last game. So still playable there. Simons and Grant, more just neutral plays for me. Eubanks and Watford will split the center position. Both reasonable plays. I wouldn't call either of these guys priorities, though. They now have Watford as only a center. I think if I was going to play one, I would just prefer whoever the lower owned option is between the two. And then Shaedon Sharpe and Nasir Little are interesting values. I think one of these guys will start. Neither are the best point per minute guys, but you have the min price for Nasir Little and 3.1K for Shaedon Sharpe. And then you might see a little bit of run for Jabari Walker, but probably not enough for me to get to him. Finally, Milwaukee and the Clippers. It's a back-to-back. Maybe some of the vets rest from Milwaukee, we'll see. But assuming everyone plays, like Giannis at the top, I think there's a lot of value on the slate. So if you wanted to get to Giannis, that's totally fine. Drew, Middleton could rest since his back-to-back. We'll see. I don't hate Brook Lopez without Bobby Portis. He's been playing low 30s minutes. But there'd be like no standouts, assuming everyone plays for Milwaukee. And finally, the Clippers. So Kawhi Leonard's going to rest this game. Ty Lue also said that Paul George and Kawhi will see limited minutes going up to the All-Star break. So this one's kind of tough because if this is just a normal game for Paul George without Kawhi Leonard, he played 38 to 40 minutes, I would really like him. But if you get only like 30 minutes of Paul George here, it's kind of tough. So maybe Ty Lue's just trolling with that quote, but he did say that. He said Kawhi and Paul George are going to see limited minutes until the All-Star break. So I don't know what to make of that. What I think happens here is Paul George obviously plays tomorrow, and he sits Saturday, and then Kawhi plays. So if you think Paul George plays normal minutes, then I think he makes for a really good play without Kawhi Leonard at 8-9. But that quote makes it a little bit tricky for me. Zubac, you know what I'm going to say. Ceiling is there. Reasonable price point. Norman Powell should play a ton off the bench, like his upside in tournaments. The fifth starter, Reggie Jackson traded, John Wall traded, and Kawhi Leonard's out. I think they're going to start Nick Batum. And if he does start, I actually like Batum a lot. I think he'd be my favorite play at 3-4. Would assume he would probably play mid to high 20s minutes. So Batum would look good. I think that starting lineup would be Mann, Paul George, Morris, Batum, Zubac. And then with both point guards being traded away, I think you get a good amount of run here for Terrence Mann. Only $4,000. I like him. This is not the same spot where, we've had Reggie available and, minutes can fluctuate. There's no other point guards in this roster, really. So I think Terrence Mann plays a good amount. I like him and I like Batum. I think those are my two favorite plays in the Clippers. I don't hate a 4.3K Marcus Morris either. Shot 1 of 23 last game. And then off the bench, assuming that's the starting 5, I think the other rotation guys. So again, starting lineup, I think will be Mann, George, Morris, Batum, Zubac. So Powell will play big minutes off the bench. And then I think you see some rotation minutes from Robert Covington at the flat min price. And then I think probably like Preston will play some, maybe Boston or Coffee. So that's what I think the rotation will be. But I think Mann probably and Batum would be the top guys for me. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, good luck on the slate. Enjoy your Friday. If you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys all in the next video.